I mean, this is just something that I've had to learn how to do through the vulnerability that I've been telling you, but that's why it's brought me here today. And, it kind of rolls into another topic, another discussion topic. And this floor is open for everyone.
I can speak of something about that happened to me last year. And I was preparing for a test. I've been preparing for a test for a long time. Basically, it's for a license, for my pilot license. And going in, you got to go in early so you can fly the plane. And then I forgot my materials, forgot all kind of stuff. And fear just came over me completely, in the sense that these different thoughts that said, you're not supposed to be, guys like you don't do this. You're going to die.
Mm.
These kind of messages still come. And it's like, well, even after all of this training, those thoughts and those things still come because they're in the psyche. But the thing that had encouraged me to go on is my spirituality. Mm-hmm. And so it was like the peace of God just came in. And I'm not going to say the peace in the sense of kumbaya and that kind of thing, but more of a strong, where you can, in essence, speaking in tongues and pounding on your chest like a warrior, like, I'm strong. I got this. I got you. I got you. You got this. You're going to overcome this fear, but you got to still face it to overcome it. Mm. And so in facing it, there's on the other end of that is the victory. And so it was very scary, where my whole nervous system felt like it was shutting down, and cold sweats and all of that kind of stuff. But the reality is that you're still equipped, just like you were saying, Jay, mm-hmm. that you have to realize and go through that walk or that journey of realizing how important, how valuable, how strong, and how much you have on the inside that is untapped. Mm. But when you start tapping, you start to see, man, I really do got this, but I got to go through it, just like you said.
That is so crazy powerful. Again, Dr. Houston, you reminded me of a time I talked about my own coming up in a home with an alcoholic father, and he was physically abusive to my mother, certainly. Years later, and because of the benefit of a great therapist, I stopped over at my folks' house. I'm well into my 30s at that time, and I could hear all of the sounds outside the house. My father yelling, my mother crying, and it took me right back to being 9 or 10 years old. So I walked in, and I found myself shutting down. Instead of confronting him as a grown man would have done, I relapsed for a second into little Michael P. Coleman. Mm-hmm, and it was a moment where I said, wait, when I was 9 or 10, I didn't stand a chance. I stand more than a chance right now. And I will never forget saying to him, but you talked about that adrenaline rush, my heart was racing. But I remember saying to my father, you have terrorized this family for the last time. This ends today. Mm-hmm. And that was, in many ways, that was the moment I grew up, because before that, I had been that little kid again. And every time he would raise his voice, we'd all shrink, But there was something about this moment. I remember seeing my mother crying, and it just reminded me she was 20, 30 years older, but it was the same picture I'd seen before. But there was a moment where I said, I can address this now. This is not going to go down the way it used to go down. And then I go to sleep, and you send me to school and say, okay, be quiet. Don't tell anybody about it. And I remember telling him, we're done. This is done. This is done.
Wow, Mike, that's powerful, man. Because you're standing up.
Yeah, it was crazy. My youngest sister was there. She rushed out because she was just hysterical. She rushed out, and I checked him. And then my father goes down the hallway. And my mother said, okay, Michael, be quiet. I didn't know what was going on. My father walked back down with a 38. The same 38 that he used to threaten my mother with. And he walks down the hall with his 38, and he gazes at me. And I looked at him and said, so that's your answer to this dispute? You're going to shoot and kill the father of your grandchildren. And I just checked him. And he was sitting down with his little gun. And I shook my head. I said, Mom, are you okay? She said, yeah. I got in my car, stopped at my sister's house to check on her. Halfway home, all of the reality is that hit me. And I had to pull over the side of the car to the side of the road. Because suddenly what could have happened occurred to me. But in that moment, man, I was just like, this is done. My youngest sister isn't crying another tear. And my mother's not crying another tear. And this is over.
Wow.
Amen.
It was tight. It was tight. Didn't mean to go there, group.
No.
Didn't mean to take it there. But when you talked about that adrenaline rush, Dr. Houston, it reminded me of that day.
That's real. That's powerful. That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
But it's real.